Hello grade 8s, and welcome back for another instructional video by Mr. Asimov. So today we're going to be talking about water. So we'll be looking at water and the species which inhabit this water. So when it comes to water, there's kind of three different classifications that scientists give to bodies of water, right? We got our lakes, our rivers, reservoirs, all that kind of stuff. Now these three classifications are pretty basic. We're going to talk about their names and what they mean. So the first type of water is what we call oligotrophic. Now oligotrophic water basically means that it's low in nutrients. Now you might think that that's a bad thing, but actually it's a very, very good thing because it still has some nutrients in it. It's just low in nutrients. So what that means is that it limits algae growth. So you see those pristine blue lakes in Kananaskis country or Banff, they're like perfectly blue and beautiful. Those are examples of oligotrophic lakes, so we would call those mountain lakes. Okay, and along with being low in nutrients and therefore limiting algae growth, right, typically these oligotrophic waters are low temperature, so they're very cold. So think of lakes in the mountains, right? Cold, not a lot of fish, they're low in algae, right? Low temperature. Because of the low temperature and the fact that there's no algae consuming oxygen, we also find that they are very high in oxygen. Because of course algae is a plant, and so it does photosynthesis. Okay, and uses up that oxygen. Now the next type of lake is what we call mesotrophic. Now mesotrophic lakes, okay, they are in the middle. So they're kind of in the middle with oxygen levels and algae and temperature. So they're neither super cold nor super hot. They don't have a ton of oxygen, they don't have very little. They're kind of nicely balanced in the middle. So think of these as kind of like your pristine prairie lakes. Can you see in the water very well, or is the water more greenish? Right? It's a little bit green, so water a bit green. Okay. Now our last type of lake are known as eutrophic lakes. Now eutrophic waters or lakes are bad. Okay, they're bad. They're polluted essentially. So these are polluted with nutrients. And what happens is because they're so polluted with nutrients, this leads to tons of slimy algae. Tons of slimy algae growing, right? And this slimy algae, what happens with it, if you look at those polluted waters, is it dies and sucks out oxygen as it decomposes. So these are the three types of water, okay, that exist on our planet. So clean, pure, low nutrients in the middle, and then very, very high in nutrients. That's that kind of green, smelly water where you can't see into it, right? And it's just overall you don't want to swim in there. So what I've done is I've gone to a pond near my house, which is a mesotrophic pond, and we'll have a look at why. And I've grabbed a few samples for us to look at with my net. So here's my samples. Okay. Now in here what I've done is I've dragged a net through some cattails at the local pond, and we can see all kinds of critters. So you notice these minnows here, right? This is a type of common minnow to North America. I'm not sure exactly which species, but they're typically found in mesotrophic water. So they don't like water that's too pure and too fresh and too clean, right? Because they can't handle the low temperature. They can't handle how cold it is, right? Whereas some other types of fish, they can't handle, medium water. They need kind of dirtier water. Other types of fish, they absolutely require clean water, such as trout. Trout, like the pictures I showed you in the PowerPoint, need clean water. These are kind of in the middle, these fish. So let's see if we can grab one and I can show you him on the side here. Oops. I don't know if they want to cooperate. Let's see. And of course we'll let these guys go after. Perfect. There we go, we've got them. So if you look at their side, oops, well anyway, they've got a black stripe on their side and the top is all dark. So if you look at this guy here, you see this insect here? This is an insect larva nymph. So you guys don't know this, but a lot of the bugs and flies that fly around outside, they're aquatic when they're babies. So this is basically a baby mayfly. This will hatch and come to the surface and grow a pair of wings and basically morph into a fly, which will then mate, right? And deposit its eggs in the water. Now you see those flickering little things on the side of its tail there? You see how it's flickering? Flickering, flickering. Okay, those are its gills. So that's how it breathes in the water. Those are its gills. So that's a baby mayfly nymph. Now this needs nice, clean, pure water. So I'm kind of surprised that it was in the pond there. There's another one here, a really nice one with a nice 3-pronged tail, right? I'm kind of surprised it was in the water, but it was in there. So that must mean that the pond is relatively clean, right? Not too much algae, pretty good amounts of oxygen. They need a lot of oxygen, these guys. Now next we have these little shrimps here. So you see this big shrimp here? This is an adult. It's actually a freshwater crustacean, so like a lobster or a crab. It lives in fresh water, right? So this is what we call a freshwater shrimp. These live in mesotrophic lakes. You can also find them in kind of dirtier eutrophic lakes. So these guys are a little bit more survivable. They can live almost anywhere. I think he's a little bit tired now because the water's kind of cold in here. You see the little one is running around. You see him here? He's the same species but smaller, and he's just going wild right now. Now last but not least, we've got our water boatman beetles. So these are very common in our lakes and rivers. You see him with his little legs flapping here. I'm following him with my tweezers. Okay, these are common in all three types of water again, but you don't really see them too much when there's too much algae in the water. So not too much in the eutrophic zone, more in the mesotrophic and the oligotrophic. A lot of trout eat these guys, and where there's trout, the water must be pretty clean. So yeah, these are some samples that I got. I also had a dragonfly larva, but unfortunately he passed away. So I'm going to go ahead and let them out, back into my little bucket and then into the pond nearby. So I hope you like that, and I hope you go out and try a little bit of your own sampling. All you need is a net and a bucket, and you basically catch them, shake the mud out into the water, clean the mud out, and plop them in your bucket with some water to keep them alive, keep them nice and oxygenated and cool. Okay? And it was like a $2 net from Superstore. So yeah, this is what you can kind of catch with just a few drags. Hope you have fun, just like you did when you were young, looking at these specimens, because this is a lot of biology and science is going in the field and gathering your own specimens and data on this, right? So I could do all kinds of math on this, ratios to fish, right? Fish to crustaceans to water boatmen, ratios between the shrimps and the fish, all that kind of data could be calculated. Thanks for watching. Bye.